Hi, this is Reddit Confessions channel. I woke up before dawn, as usual. The house was unnervingly quiet. I rolled over, half expecting to feel the warmth of her next to me, but the sheets were cold. She had been sleeping next to me for weeks. At first, there were excuses: too warm, too restless, needed space. But now she didn't even bother to explain. I sat up and rubbed my face, staring at the empty side of the bed. My wedding ring felt heavier than usual, like my body already knew something my mind refused to accept. I made coffee downstairs, the smell filling the kitchen, wrapping around me like an old memory. Lauren used to love waking up to fresh coffee. Now she barely touched it. I heard the shuffle of footsteps behind me, and for a brief moment, my heart lifted. Maybe today would be different. Maybe she'd finally say good morning, or offer me a smile. "Morning," I said, but she just walked past me like I was furniture. She grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge, checked her phone, typing fast, fully absorbed in someone, just not me. "Lauren," I tried again. She sighed, barely looking up. "I have to get ready," she muttered and walked away. No eye contact, no warmth, not even the kiss on the cheek that used to come so naturally. My heart sank, and for the first time in a long while, I felt invisible in my own home. I replayed the past few months in my head, trying to pinpoint when things started to slip. No big fights, no dramatic moments, just distance. And I had no idea how to close it. That night, I lay in bed alone again, staring at the ceiling, the weight on my chest growing heavier. Somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispered, "What if this is the end?" I used to believe love had a sound. The warmth in Lorraine's voice when she'd say my name, the laughter we shared over inside jokes, the way she hummed along to the radio while cooking dinner. Now, love had become silence. The next morning, the shower was running before I even opened my eyes. She was up before me, something that never used to happen. Lauren loved staying in bed a little longer, complaining about starting the day too early. I used to bring her coffee in bed just to hear her groggy "Thank you, babe," but now I wasn't even part of her morning routine. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the bathroom door. When she finally came out, wrapped in a towel, she didn't even glance at me. "Morning," I said carefully. She barely muttered something back, an annoyed sigh, maybe just a word, nothing more. I followed her into the closet. "Talk to me, Lauren," I said, my voice quiet, trying to catch her attention. She exhaled sharply, grabbing a blouse from the hanger. "I don't have time for this," she said, her back to me. "Time for what?" I asked. "A conversation. A single moment of acknowledgement." She spun around, her eyes narrowing. "Wendell, I don't have time for this. I have a meeting in an hour." I stood there, my pulse quickening. "Do you even care?" She didn't answer. The flicker of hesitation in her eyes was gone as soon as it appeared, and she turned away again, burying herself in the mirror. My heart sank. I wasn't imagining this. She had checked out of our marriage, and I was the only one left trying to hold on to something that wasn't there anymore. That night, she came home late. My dinner, which I had made for us, sat untouched on the table. I heard her heels click on the floor, but when she walked in, she just glanced at me and said, "You didn't have to wait." That was it. No apology. No work was rough today, just the same cold indifference. I clenched my jaw. "You could have texted." "I was busy," she said, dropping her bag on the counter. I swallowed hard, the frustration burning inside me. "You're always busy," I said, my voice sharper now. "Always busy with everything except us." She rolled her eyes, rubbing her temples. "Wendell, please. Not tonight." And then it hit me: she didn't just not love me anymore. She resented me. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind was swirling, and for the first time in months, I couldn't ignore the question that had been creeping up on me: was there someone else? The next morning, The routine felt even more suffocating. Lorraine stepped out of the bathroom, barely acknowledging me. I sat on the bed, watching her with a growing knot in my stomach. I couldn't ignore it anymore. "Do you hear yourself, Lorraine?" I asked, the frustration slipping out despite myself. When did "I don't have time" become an excuse to shut me out completely? She barely looked at me, her eyes narrowing. "Wendell, I don't have time for this," she said again. I shook my head, the words burning in my throat. "When did you stop caring?" But I didn't ask. I already knew. I spent the rest of the day restless, and when I got home that afternoon, Lorraine's car was gone. I walked into the house, and for the first time, I really looked around. The house felt staged, like it had been prepared for someone else to move in. There were no traces of us anymore. I went upstairs, and my stomach twisted when I saw the empty spaces in her closet. Her favorite dresses were gone. Some shoes were missing. I crouched down and pulled open the drawer where she kept her travel bags empty. I knew. I just knew. She was leaving. I found a letter in her dresser drawer. "Wendell," it said, "I need space. Please don't make this harder than it already is." It was impersonal, like she was already done, like our marriage didn't matter. I didn't cry, not then. I just felt empty, numb. I walked out of the room, grabbed my keys, and drove aimlessly. I ended up at a small diner, sitting alone at a booth, staring at the note. It felt surreal. A woman named Miriam sat down across from me, and for the first time in a long time, someone actually saw me. We talked, and I found myself telling her everything. She didn't judge. She just listened. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I've been there. Sometimes, people don't leave all at once. They leave piece by piece, and by the time they're gone, you don't even recognize the life you've been living." It hit me harder than I expected. Lorraine wasn't just gone, she had already checked out, and I hadn't seen it until now. Later that night, I got a message from Miriam. "How are you holding up?" I took a deep breath and replied, "I'm not sure yet, but I will be." I had to be. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. The next few days were a blur. I found the strength to do what I should have done months ago: take back control. Lorraine's departure was painful, but it was also my liberation. And as I drove away, leaving our old life behind, I knew that it was time to rebuild, step by painful step.